time for the best coverage of the top stories in sports. The Sports Wrap with Jason Page starts now.
Thank you, Chad Erickson, and good to have you all with us on this Friday edition of the show. A lot to do over the next 60 minutes. We will jam it all in. Week 8 NFL picks, Page versus the Prince. It's Friday. That means it's a NASCAR Friday with Tino Pattigno, who will join us a little later on in the show. Get his picks. I'm going to do something today that I have never done when it comes to Tino Pattigno. You will have to be watching later on in the show. That is what we call a restaurant quality tease. Our friend Robert Littal, Black Sports Online, will drop by. I want to know what he thinks of Charles Barkley sinking his teeth into Joel Embiid's decision to not play back-to-backs and basically declare, I am done playing back-to-backs. We'll get into that a little bit. World Series predictions, NFL games to watch, and a whole bunch more. But first, we say hello to our friend Sam Yarnell, who is here on this Friday. So Rams beat the Vikings. And I think we're starting to realize some regression to the mean here with Minnesota, let's be honest. They were not expected to be this juggernaut this year that they were through their first 5 games. Now they've lost a couple of games in a row. And I'm as curious to hear from you, Sam, about, as much as we could talk about the Vikings, I want to get in on the Rams a little bit. Because there's all this talk of them, trading Cooper Kupp, trading Matt Stafford, basically throwing out the season. And I watched that game last night with Puka Nacua going off, and this team getting healthy in a division that is completely up for grabs, in a conference that is winnable for anybody that gets into the postseason. And I have to ask myself the question, why would you throw away the season when you're 1 game out of first place? It makes no sense to me.
It's a numbers thing, purely when it comes to the Rams. I mean, Matt Stafford and Cooper Kupp combining takes $70-ish million off of the Rams cap for next season, not to mention the season after that, which I actually think they both have the same figures as next season. Obviously, that's an overpay for both of those guys. Listen, I'm a big Matt Stafford guy. I'm not going to sit here and tell you he's a bad quarterback. Guy is probably a Hall of Famer. It's going to be a very interesting debate to see if he gets into the Hall of Fame. All of that said, he's not worth $35 million in today's NFL. I'm sorry. Listen, so on the Rams as a whole, yeah, probably do think they should end up making the moves at the end of the day if they want to better their franchise in 5 years, right? I don't think this is a team that you're going to win it all with. And we always hear, Jason, I know you've heard this from people in NFL circles. As much as they want to come out in the media, all these teams do, and say, we're going to do everything to push now and win this year and do what we can. The reality of the situation in the NFL is that there are about 5 teams every year that know that they've got a legitimate shot at winning the championship. Sometimes it's less than that. Sometimes it's down to 3. Outside of that, the other 27 to 29, yeah, we could get lucky and make the playoffs and maybe go on some sort of miracle run, but realistically, it's looking at next year. I think the Rams are right at the front end of that. They're not going to win the championship.
But here's the thing,
this year.
Sam, but here's the thing. If you get rid of those guys now, you're basically throwing away the next 3 years because you're announcing a rebuild. So it's not looking forward to next year. You're talking about a rebuild for a team that's good enough, not just good enough to make the playoffs. They could win that division when you look at the disarray in the NFC West. I don't know how you sell that to a fan base. Now, as I say, I don't know how you sell that to a fan base. There's also a part of me that says that fan base wouldn't really care if they sold anyway. They're going to sell the seats anyhow because everybody comes out there. You get a lot of road teams that come out to LA and watch teams play against the Rams. So I can understand that they probably aren't worried about the blowback from that perspective, but I don't see how you can make an argument they can't win that division. They could win that division.
So here's the thing. I don't agree that it's a rebuild, right? Because this is not some team. This is not the remnants of the Los Angeles Rams.
Who's their
that
quarterback
won
next year?
championships.
Who's their quarterback next year?
Someone who they're drafting in a stacked quarterback class. And they've also got the second best young running back in the league, and 2 of the top 20 young wide receivers in the league, including the best young wide receiver in the league. Not to mention a great young tight end in Kobe Parkinson, who is on a very cheap deal. Not a single offensive lineman over the age of 32. And in terms of 32-year-olds, there are 2 of them, and I believe the rest of their offensive line room is under 30. On the defensive side of the football, you're looking at defensive backs. They've got 2 of them over the age of 30. This is a very young team, which, if retooled properly, could contend as soon as next year for a championship.
Yeah, the mere fact, though, that you don't know who their quarterback is next year, and we all know quarterbacks in drafts are sometimes swing and hit a home run, and sometimes they're, the kid in Carolina. So I mean, you could go either way. When it comes to drafting quarterbacks.
But I don't think it's fair to compare drafting someone into the Los Angeles Rams organization. You can't compare them to Bryce Young. If anything, they're more comparable to C.J. Stroud. That situation was way more quarterback friendly. Bryce Young was set up to fail from the day he walked in the door. A young quarterback or a quarterback drafted to Los Angeles is immediately coming in to a wide receiver room that's top 5 in the NFL and a skill position set that is at least top 7. I think
it's
that
still
if
unknown.
You go with a rookie
I know. Here's what I know. This team is good enough to win this division. Again, say nothing about the fact that it's a garbage division right now because Seattle's kind of meh. The Niners are banged up. They're good enough to win that division. To me, it's impossible to sell. To me, if I'm a fan, it's impossible to sell to me the idea, again, in an NFC, that if you get in, you can win. I think we would all agree with that, right? We would all agree that if you get into the playoffs out of the NFC, with all the talent that you're mentioning on this roster, with Matthew Stafford and Cooper Kupp, that you can win.
No.
No, how do you say no?
There's one team from the NFC West that has a realistic chance at making a run in the postseason. Not saying making it 2. Like sure, the Rams could make it to the playoffs, but the Niners are the only team that has a chance with the depth that they have at making a serious run at the postseason. Yeah, and I'll tell you another reason why the Rams can't, because of what I just mentioned with their youth. This is a team that's never been to the playoffs. They've got 2 guys who have real postseason experience. I don't think they have what it takes to go on a run.
But 1 year from now, with unknown quarterback, you think they're just right back in it. It's a contradiction to me. It's a contradiction. I don't know. We got a couple of games we want to get to in the next segment. Talk about what we're watching on Sunday in Week 8 in the NFL. Sam and I return. Don't go anywhere. We welcome you back this Friday edition of SportsWrap. Coming up in 10 minutes, World Series predictions. We will be on the record, ladies and gentlemen. World Series gets started on Friday night. Sammy Arnell returns. We were just talking about, and before we get into our Week 8 games to watch, we got a few minutes here. We were just talking about the Christian McCaffrey situation. Does he come back Week 9? Does he come back Week 10? Does he come back at all? We were looking at the Rams schedule a little bit. Here's the Rams schedule, by the way. Over the next, I can give you the next 6. We'll go next 6 games. They're at Seattle next week. Home for the Rams. At the Patriots. Home for the Eagles. At the Saints. Home for the Bills. That's the next 6 for the Rams.
What was the second one?
Home for the Dolphins. And then they're at Niners, at Jets, home for the Cardinals, home for the Seahawks. So, it's not I wouldn't call it an easy schedule by any means, but that's what
it'll depend a lot on how the Dolphins look starting this week.
Yeah, and I am anxious to see how the Dolphins. That was going to be one of my 2 games to watch this weekend, and then Sam sent me his list, and I said, "Oh, there goes that." Unless I want to do the same game as Sam, which I don't obviously want to do. But looking at also real quick the number in that NFC West right now as far as FanDuel is concerned. 49ers right now plus 100 to win the division. Seahawks are plus 260, the Cardinals plus 500, and the Rams plus 550. And I said to Sam, oh my God, I would run and go put money right now on the Seahawks at plus 550, only being a game out. And he actually made a very valid point. So Sam, go ahead, make that point.
I just, when you look at the other divisions and how the book has kind of adjusted to their different positions, it makes sense to book the Rams at plus 550 and book the Cardinals at plus 500. But I think, Jason, if you're really dead set on betting the Los Angeles Rams, the best thing for you to do is wait until Christian McCaffrey comes back, because that plus 550 is going to turn into a plus 800 or a 10-1, off the strength of the Niners getting a focal point of their offense back. So if you really are dead set on betting the Los Angeles Rams to win the NFC West, your best way to do it is wait, because like you said, tough schedule coming up, could get lucky in terms of the better and get more favorable odds because of a loss in there. And then obviously the Christian McCaffrey news. So if you are, I would wait.
It's a good point. All right. We got week 8 in the NFL. Sam and I do this every week. We try to give you a little guide, a little help, a little hand. If you're one of those people that has Sunday ticket and you can watch every game, the games you should be watching and why we will be watching them. I will go first for a change because I'm always magnanimous and let Sam go first. Today I'm going to go first, Sam Yarnell. And with that, let's see here. My 2 games to watch this week. Let me start with Bills and Seahawks. I like this game a lot. Seahawks coming off one of their best wins of the year on the road in Atlanta. And NFC West, as we just described, that is very much up for grabs. Another week of Amari Cooper in this Bills offense. I am excited to see what that looks like, because I did say earlier this week in Contender Pretender that I believe the Bills are a Super Bowl contender, especially with the addition of Amari Cooper. An NFC West, though, that feels like it's up for grabs with this Seattle team is what has me most intrigued. And up until that Atlanta game, what Seattle had done wasn't that impressive in terms of the wins they had versus the losses they had suffered. So I'm curious to see what that one looks like. The other game to me that I think is, I'm shocked you didn't pick this one actually, Sam. Colts-Texans. Could this spell the end of Anthony Richardson? If there was a perfect storm brewing for them to yank Anthony Richardson and replace him with Joe Flacco permanently at starting quarterback for the rest of this season, this could be it. On the road against a Houston team that, even though we're not big believers in them as being like Super Bowl contenders, despite their record, it is still a road game within the division. And so far, Anthony Richardson just hasn't played well. There's no getting around that right now. Anthony Richardson has not played good football. This could be the week that if it goes south, and I'm not saying they necessarily even replace him in game, if it doesn't go well, the drumbeat for Flacco to become that team's starting quarterback grows a lot louder. Give me 2 games.
Yeah, my first game to watch is Cardinals-Dolphins for obvious reasons. On the Cardinals side, I will be looking to fade Kyler Murray left and right. We all know, or I'm sure many of you know, today, Friday, is the release date for the new Call of Duty game. Kyler Murray's numbers historically after a Call of Duty game is released are awful. I mean, horrible. We know that it's because he likes to...
This is real?
Yeah,
this is a thing.
It is. You if you remember, there was a whole fallout.
I remember the whole thing
years ago with him not watching film. It was because he was playing Call of Duty the whole time. So Kyler Murray, the tablet is gonna accumulate a lot of dust over the next couple of weeks. That thing is not gonna get used for an ounce of film. We'll be betting Kyler Murray under passing yards and over interceptions 6 ways to Sunday, maybe the rest of the season. I'm also interested to see Tua come back. Obviously, I talked yesterday on the show about how much bad luck he suffers when coming back from a concussion midseason. terrified for him, honestly, horrified that this kind of thing is going to happen again. So I will be locked in to Cardinals-Dolphins on Sunday. My late slate game is Bears-Commanders. Why? Because no matter who starts for the Washington Commanders in this game, you're going to get a number 1 versus a number 2 overall pick in terms of starting quarterback matchup. I don't not believe in Marcus Mariota. I think that he can do enough, even if he has to go in this game to win it for the Washington Commanders. And if he has to go in this game, he's already known it for a few days, so he's had time to get comfortable in that offense. We just haven't known it as the public. Obviously, on the Bears side, that defense has been phenomenal all season long. Let's see if they can keep it up against one of the more high-powered offenses in the National Football League, even if they're with their backup quarterback. And then Caleb Williams go in probably the biggest game of his career to date, just in terms of narrative and matchup. You need to see something out of him here, especially if you want him to win the Rookie of the Year, because this game flips that entire market.
I like it. 2 games to watch this weekend. I am looking forward to watching them. I will be all alone on Sunday because my significant other is flying to San Antonio early on Sunday morning. So I will have the place to myself, just me and the dog, watching football, eating some wings, all sorts of shenanigans. It's going to be great. Enjoy your NFL Sunday. We're coming back to talk about the World Series, predictions, and more are next. Sports Wrap rolls on this Friday. Coming up in 10 minutes, Robert Littal, Black Sports Online. Talk about some of the top stories in the week with him. In particular, I want to get his thoughts on Charles Barkley's critical comments of Joel Embiid. We'll get into it. All right, Sam Yarnell. World Series Game 1 Friday night. I am pumped. I am ready. I will be glued to the Oh, no. I'm supposed to do dinner. I just remembered. I'm literally having this thought live on television right now.
That's wild.
I know.
Shame on you for scheduling a dinner on the same night as World Series Game 1. Those are my thoughts.
Stupid.
Yeah, that's 100% on you, my man.
A friend of mine is in town from Seattle, and he invited us out to dinner on Friday night at 6 p.m., and the game starts here in Vegas at 5 p.m.
Oh, wow.
Oh my God.
Oh, so you're going to miss the entire game. You're going to miss the whole game.
Well, I'll have my phone, and I'll just be, watching it.
Oh, wow. So you're going to be that guy at dinner. Wow, that's even worse. You might as well just not show up at that point.
There is some truth to that. Hopefully my friend isn't watching. Because, that's kind of the truth.
Now, this is what you should have done.
What am I going to do?
See, this is what you should have done. If you're ready to listen, this is what you should have done.
I'm ready.
You live in Vegas, Jason Page. What is like the most common thing in Vegas?
Yeah.
Oh, it's a restaurant right outside the sports bar. I can think of 3 casinos off the top of my head that have them out there.
Yeah.
You should have said, let's get dinner at this wonderful restaurant built right into the sports bar where there are 230 500-inch screens that I can watch all the games on. Oh, man.
It's my 20s.
You really dropped the ball there. You really did.
It's my 20-something colleague that thinks of these things, and I just don't. I don't think of these things because I got a million other things going on. I had dinner with our friend David Ardsma last night. There's so many things going on. All right, let's talk about the World Series, of which I will be missing Game 1 apparently, with the Yankees and Dodgers in L.A. Flaherty versus Cole. First of all, Game 1 prediction, Sam.
Yeah, so here, you might get mad at me. My Game 1 prediction ties into my series prediction. Here's the thing. I'm betting on the New York Yankees tonight on the money line. Here's why. If the Yankees want a shot in this series, they got to win every game that Garrett Cole starts. It's as simple as that. You have to win the games where your ace starts, especially when the other team isn't throwing their ace out. So The Yankees have to go into Los Angeles and win it tonight, and I think plus 110 on the money line is an incredible price. So if you're thinking about betting the Yankees in the series, I'm just going to recommend that you bet the Yankees in this game tonight because they need to win this game to win the series. So I'm going Yankees plus 110 tonight. I've already got my future from months ago on the National League to win the World Series, so we'll sit on that, but I like the Yankees in game one with Cole on the hill.
Gonna hedge a little? Yankees win tonight, you gonna hedge a little? Want to hedge a little on that National League?
No.
Okay.
Because if the Yankees win tonight and I'm right, then that's hedging in and of itself.
Yeah, I guess so. I'm taking the Yankees to win tonight at plus 110 as well on the money line. For the series, the number really hasn't moved. Yankees plus 104. You think there might be some late movement on that line?
It's... Series prices in baseball are always weird because it's not something that the sharps really want to attack. They would rather go game by game because that's how they can get, their bigger and better breakdowns.
Okay.
But Jason, there's an interesting market that we've caught ourselves in the middle of with this World Series. The leader in the 2025 MLB postseason in terms of hits is currently Mark Vientos with 18. Now, any player playing in this series anywhere close to him, the next closest is Tommy Edman with 15, Mookie Betts with 13, Shohei Ohtani with 12, Gleyber and Soto with 11 each. I said Vientos has 18. So, to lead the Major League Baseball postseason in hits, Mark Vientos is currently plus 850. And I think it's a value play. I think there's a lot of value to be had in that number. I'm going to go ahead and bet Mark Vientos to lead the MLB postseason in hits in 2024, just because I don't think Edman gets 3 hits in this series. I don't think Soto gets 7 hits. I don't think Ohtani gets 6 hits. Realistically, I don't see this series going that many games. So I don't think these guys get all these chances. I like Vientos, and I like the number at plus 850.
I just saw a silly number on FanDuel, and I shouldn't even bring this up because it's a waste of all of our time, but I'm going to do it anyway. World Series prop bet on FanDuel. Any player to hit a 500-foot home run in the World Series. I mean, with 3 guys that could potentially do it.
With one guy who's done it before in this very stadium, Giancarlo Stanton, people love to forget this. In 2013, hit a 500-foot home run that if any of you have been to Dodger Stadium, you'll understand how much this means. It went over all of the bleachers and the roof in the outfield. There's a plaque on the concourse that you can go visit where the ball landed. It was one of the most mammoth I was watching the game live. It was truly magnificent.
I remember it.
One of the most mammoth home runs I've ever seen in my life. I'd bet it just to have some fun. Maybe Flaherty zips a heater right down Broadway and Stanton does it again.
Any player to record 14 plus hits in the World Series and break the all-time World Series record, that's also going at 50 to 1 or 500 to 1 plus 5,000. Sorry. So that's 50 to 1. Any player to record 13 plus RBIs in the series, break the all-time World Series record. I kind of like that one. Plus 3,000.
I got another one for you.
Okay.
Stanton to lead the World Series, not the Major League Baseball postseason, the World Series in homers.
Okay.
6 to 1. Plus 600. It's a great price.
I agree. Yankees to win the series in 6. I will also go with that. That is going at 6 to 1. So I'm gonna do that. Because I think the Yankees win in 6, obviously, or I wouldn't be betting it.
Interesting.
I almost said Yankees in 5, but I'm shocked that Yankees in 5 is the same price as Yankees in 6. That's bizarre to me. I don't know how the Yankees in 5 wouldn't be a bigger number.
They're at home for both of the games is the only thing I can think of.
No, Game 6 is back in L.A. It's 2-3-2.
Oh, yeah, because it's 2-3-2. Yeah.
Doesn't make sense to me. Doesn't make any sense.
It's not Game 4 and Game 5. Yeah, that doesn't make sense. That makes, yeah, I'm shocked.
Yankees in 6, plus 600. All right. We're good. Enjoy the World Series, folks. Bet it responsibly. Sam will return later for Page versus the Prince. Welcome back to this Friday edition of Sports Wrap. Tino Pattigno in 10 minutes previews NASCAR, Homestead this weekend. Let's bring in our friend Robert Littal, founder, Black Sports Online. Hangs out with us on the program. All right, a few things I want to run through with you. So let's start with Charles Barkley.
Sixers playing with a very short...
Going after Joel Embiid for deciding he's not going to play any more back-to-backs for the rest of his career. I mean, look, I got a problem with it too. I think it takes some of the shine off of Joel Embiid, but there's obviously a calculus here to get the most bang for the buck and have him on the court in the postseason. This is what the organization feels like it has to do in concert with him. What did you think of what Barkley had to say?
Yeah, ideally, the goal is to win the NBA championship by any means, necessary. If Joel Embiid wins an NBA championship, nobody cares about, any of this. I think the problem is that when you get paid so much money, you get paid for your job, and your job is only, 82 games a year, 82 days that you quote unquote have to go to work. You practice for 3 hours a day. If that, you have the rest of the day to play Call of Duty and everything. So I think that's what irks people the wrong way, because, if you like Charles said, if you're a steel worker or a nurse, and you have to work 12 hours, it doesn't matter if you're sick or your leg hurts or your shoulder hurts or things like that. But athletes, their body is what they need to perform at a high level. So I see both sides of it, but the thing that bothers me, don't whine if you're Joel Embiid. Don't cry about the most valuable player. Don't cry when people say you're not as good as Jokic. Don't whine about the fans. Just go out, and do your job.
But you know what? Society has always been filled with the haves and have-nots. So I think comparing it to the nurse or the fireman or the steel worker or the factory worker or even the person making my Starbucks, the barista at Starbucks making my drink. Love you, Jose. Even that person, not everybody gets treated the same way in life. We don't like to think.
What's the difference between a media person and your barber or your Starbucks person? We just get paid to give our opinions. That's the only difference. I mean, anybody can come in here and if I won't say don't take any training. Obviously, we've worked on this for many, many years, but it's not like we can go in and do heart surgery like tomorrow. But somebody can come in and say LeBron's not the GOAT. So that, I understand that aspect of it.
Yeah, I do too. I just think sometimes, this whole argument or trying to compare it to real world jobs, it's not. He's one of the, I don't know how many NBA players are there, 200, 300, whatever there is. He's one of the very, very elite in the world, the tiniest percentage of a percentage that is able to do what he does. So you know what? Not everybody gets treated the same.
And if he got hurt doing a back-to-back, what would they say? He shouldn't have played the back-to-back.
Right.
Say.
Yeah, I get it. So there we go from Joel Embiid and Charles Barkley being critical of Joel Embiid to Kawhi Leonard and Charles Barkley not necessarily commenting on this one, but Stephen A. Smith was and was very critical of Kawhi Leonard and the fact that he's not playing again as this season begins. Give me some thoughts on, especially as somebody who is in LA, give me some thoughts on Kawhi Leonard and what feels like another lost start to the season for one of the most talented but one of the most unavailable players in the NBA.
If you hurt, you hurt. I really don't understand what Stephen A. Smith is upset about. I mean, it's not like, I don't think Kawhi is like out putting a hammer to his knee. If it's not right, it's not right. And no one should be forced to play, if they're hurt. I don't think that makes him a worse superstar, a better superstar than anybody else. It just means that, unfortunately, and we've seen this with people like Terrell Davis and Gale Sayers and
Grant Hill.
Grant Hill. Yeah, exactly. So it's not unusual to see someone that you Penny Hardaway, someone that could have been a star or a super mega star, which I think Kawhi actually is, but could have been even better and done even more. But injuries happen. So, if you're in LA, I think they're very disappointed. I think, Ballmer wanted Kawhi Leonard to be in that when they opened that new arena with all the bells and whistles and the $70 parking. They wanted Kawhi to be the main, guy there, and instead they got James Harden. So I mean that does feel like a bum deal for like probably the fans and everything. But I don't blame Kawhi for that. No more than I would blame me or you for twisting our ankle. Out taking out the trash.
Yeah,
which I've done before. That's why.
That I was saying this yesterday. That fan wall, it looks great at the beginning of the season when everybody's excited. I don't know what that fan wall is going to look like when we get to like January and the team is 15-22. I'm not exactly sure what that fan wall is going to look like. All right, we got World Series getting started on Friday night. Yankees, Dodgers, Game 1, Garrett Cole against Jack Flaherty. Forget just Game 1 for a moment. The overall series. Give me your thoughts on who wins the series. How many games?
Yeah, I got to go with the Dodgers because I can't go with the Yankees. I've always been anti. I can't go with the Yankees, so I'm going to go with the Dodgers. But I think the reason the Dodgers are going to win is actually the bullpen. I think they have this excellent bullpen, and I'm not even a fan of bullpen games and things like that. But they can do what they've done in the playoffs, with their bullpen. If they can shut down basically Soto and Judge and Giancarlo, that's it. I mean, that's pretty much the Yankees. I don't think they're going to be like the Guardians, basically just, oh, hey, this guy's up. He can win the game for us. Let's pitch him right down the middle. I think Dave Roberts, who I've been critical of before, I think he's going to get it done.
All right.
Dodgers in 6.
All right. I'm going Yankees in 6. So we'll see how it all pans out. Hopefully by this time next week.
You have to be rich to go to those games.
Oh, my God. Insane numbers. I got to go. Robert Littal, always appreciate it, my man.
No problem. Have a great weekend.
Sports Wrap continues, and so does the conversation. And we turn our attention to NASCAR. Homestead this weekend, after a heck of a weekend. In my place, Las Vegas, Sin City. And of course, I wasn't here for it, because somebody scheduled a bowling tournament 6 months ago when he didn't know he was moving to Las Vegas. So I missed out on the South Point 400, which goes Joey Logano's way. And I'm thinking back to our conversation as Tino Pattigno joins the show. He's a SiriusXM NASCAR betting insider. He is our NASCAR guy on this show. Nobody we talked to before Tino Pattigno. I think back to the conversation with Austin Dillon from, a week ago, 2 weeks ago, whatever it was, last week. And he talked about Joey Logano. And lo and behold, Joey Logano is your winner in Las Vegas. Talk about it.
Oh, 100%. I mean, that's just the best part about it is I think a lot of people know the term, do you know ball? And in the racing world, we call it, do you know motor? And Austin Dillon knows motor. I know motor. We all, if you're tuning into the show, will understand motor because we talked about Joey Logano 12-1. His championship ticket was that price. Heading into Las Vegas, we talked about him being around 15-1, 19-1 earlier in the week there. Also later after practice and qualifying, having that value. And the fact that Joey Logano was able to pull through didn't surprise me, didn't surprise Austin Dillon, and I hope it didn't surprise you guys tuned in because we were able to cash out on that there. His championship price for Joey Logano, who's now locked into the championship 4 at Phoenix in just a couple of weeks for the NASCAR Cup Series, 3-1 now. So that just goes to show. Hope you guys are tuning in. And I wasn't surprised Joey got it done, like I said, but the way he did it in that race was pretty special.
Well, again, we'll go through that real quick before we get to Homestead and talk about the best bets for this week. What was it about this track? Because again, Austin Dillon said he liked him at this track. What was it about Joey Logano in this track?
So Joey's been strong at Vegas, throughout the last few years, especially on the even number years. It sounds funny to say, but every even number year, Joey Logano's in the championship 4. It's just how it's gone down. I think the biggest thing to me from what I saw take place at Vegas was Joey Logano and his crew chief and Paul Wolfe working together and working a little bit smarter than everyone else in the field. It wasn't a better car that Joey had. It wasn't more talent than Christopher Bell, who was dominating that race, led 155 laps out of the 267 total. It seemed like Christopher Bell was going to be the driver to win that race. Another person we talked about throughout the show last weekend. But Joey did a little strategy, stayed out on fuel. He had the fuel to make it to the end. And that was awesome to see because once he took the lead away from Daniel Suarez, who was also running that same type of strategy, who did he have behind him? His teammate in Ryan Blaney. Now, Blaney was caught up in an accident, had some things go wrongly for them, and Blaney was able to help push Joey Logano past Suarez, stay ahead of Christopher Bell. And that was something that, was awesome to see the strategy play out by Joey Logano and his crew chief, something that's gotten them wins multiple times this season. And also the fact that Ryan Blaney, best teammate in NASCAR, maybe that sort of good juju will go a long way for the 12 car.
All right. Look at the top 4 as it stands right now with 2 races to go, including this week. Christopher Bell is second behind Joey Logano, then Kyle Larson, then William Byron. Denny Hamlin, Tyler Reddick, Ryan Blaney, Chase Elliott round out the top 8. But, I mean, we were talking about Joey Logano being at the bottom of this list just a week ago. And now he finds himself at the top of the list. It could obviously change that quickly. So move ahead to Homestead. Talk a little bit about this track. Who's performed well there in the past. I think we said Christopher Bell won this race last year, a race in which Kyle Larson, right? Was Kyle Larson that you said ran into a sand bucket or whatever? Let's call it a sand trap because we'll use a golf term. Goes into the sand, and Christopher Bell is able to win last year at this track. When you're trying to handicap this week's race, what are you looking for?
Well, I'm looking for Kyle Larson to be the favorite, and he is just that at plus 350, and I want to just be aware of that because of what happened last year. Everyone knows, or at least I'm going to inform you guys if you don't, that at Homestead, Miami, it is a 1.5-mile track, intermediate track style, but the way the banking is set up and the high tire wear suits Kyle Larson's driving style perfectly. Now, what also leads to him having success is riding the high line, right close up against the wall, getting the most speed into corner entry and out of corner exit. No one does it better in the sport than Kyle Larson. Well, Kyle Larson may be the best driver in the world, but he's not a world beater. We saw it happen last year, like you said, the sand trap. And that was something where Kyle Larson can be overly aggressive and mistakes can happen. So at plus 350 to bet on him to win this race outright this weekend, I'm not touching it. I just can't. The reason is because of what happened last year. I do like his chances to go out and win this race, but if you like his chances to win, I would prefer maybe betting on Chevy to win because then you get all the Chevy drivers outright. That's like a plus 150 number. It's just, to me, Kyle Larson's a driver to note. Tyler Reddick, too, the same driving style. This track fits those guys.
All right, I'm going to do something. We've been talking all season long from the start of the NASCAR season until now. I'm going to do something that I have not done all season long because putting money on NASCAR to me, I wouldn't have any idea what I'm doing. I'm going to tail you this weekend. Give me a reason to tail you. Tell me what I should go with.
The reason is we're prepared and we're ready and we have a lot of momentum heading into this race weekend. The reason I say that and feel that way, not just because of the Joey Logano awesome 19-1 victory from last weekend, but it's because we're prepared to see what happens at this track. Toyota specifically, Tyler Reddick, Christopher Bell, Denny Hamlin, Mark Truex Jr., hey, even Bubba Wallace has been strong here. And my point is with those drivers, they can provide us with value just based on the winning manufacturer bet alone. If you want that at plus 150, I would say that's a great strategy to have. You bet on those guys, place your units allocation there properly in terms of that, and then we see a Ryan Blaney as a defender guy in terms of someone that can beat all of the Toyotas. He's 10-1. So if you want to take all those Toyota drivers at plus 150 and be able to have that mentality of a driver that can beat all of them, I see Blaney as one of them, maybe William Byron another at 8-1. Guys that have value to also win this race.
All right, I'm tailing you. I'll be watching you on X at Tino Pattigno. We're coming back. Sports Wrap continues, but only for a few minutes. Just about time to wrap this baby for the week. Sports Wrap weekends, we're available. 30-minute wrap-up of everything we talked about on the show this week. Could find that here on this station. You might find it on a different station in your market. Check local listings for time and schedule. Also, Sports Wrap with Jason Page, the podcast, available wherever you get your podcasts. Google Play, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, Odyssey, Amazon, Anywhere you get your podcasts, go and check that out. All right, ladies and gentlemen, without any further delay,
it's Friday, and that means it's time for the weekly face-off for sports betting bragging rights. It's Paige versus the Prince on the Sports Wrap.
All right, Sam Yarnell, Week 8 in the NFL. We are both 17 and 11, just a shade over 60% for a winning percentage. And as Sam was explaining to me off the air, that makes us a sharp. I will take that anytime. Love it. All right, Sam, you are up first. Give me 4 winners for Week 8 in the NFL.
All right, Jason, back to the well with the totals. They treated us okay last week. The sides did not. So let's get back to the totals this week. Over 47.5 in Eagles-Bengals. Bengals can't defend anyone. Eagles need a get-right spot for this offense, and we all know what that Bengals offense can do. I see points, and more points in this game. I love the over 47.5 in Eagles-Bengals. Give me the Green Bay Packers minus 3.5 on the road in Jacksonville against the Jaguars. Folks, the Jaguars have let people down at just about every turn this season. I don't see them turning that around against what is maybe the 5th best team in the NFC right now. The Green Bay Packers have shown you that they can do it in multiple facets. I picked against them last week, and that was foolish. I thought they were one-dimensional. They showed you in that game they are clearly not. They can win the game through all 3 phases. Give me the Green Bay Packers minus 3.5 in Jacksonville this weekend. To the Panthers and the Broncos we go, and we're going under 41.5. Where are points coming from in this game? We know how bad Bryce Young is. Jason and I talked about it earlier on the show. That Broncos defense may score more touchdowns than the Panthers offense will. In terms of the Broncos offense, I'm not expecting a lot out of Bo Nix at home at altitude. Under 41.5 Panthers Broncos. And finally, Jason, Saints Chargers. We're going to go under 40.5 in Saints Chargers just because. What are the Saints going to do with their quarterback situation? They remain in this worst cap spot in the league. And Alvin Kamara over the last couple of weeks, as long as they've had this quarterback kind of injury situation, the league has adjusted to Alvin Kamara. So give me under 40.5 in Saints Chargers. Chargers great defense as well and an incompetent offense. We'll run the card back for you. Eagles Bengals over 47.5. Packers laying 3.5 on the road in Jacksonville. Panthers Broncos under 41.5, and Saints Chargers under 40.
All right.
And a half.
Now you sent me your picks. I make an extra concerted effort to not look at what you send me, as it might influence what I do. I am influenceable. So I went with 4 games, and we actually agree on 2. I am with you on Packers minus 3.5 in Jacksonville. We are on the same page there. And we are also simpatico when it comes to under 41.5 in Panthers Broncos. I am very much with you on both of those games. I don't want to say differ, I just have different games. Eagles Bengals, I'm going over 47.5 in that game. Oh, no, that's you. You have Eagles Bengals. Sorry. Bengals minus 2.5 at home. I have our picks stacked on top of each other there. Bengals minus 2.5 at home against the Eagles. Anybody who's watched this show, anybody who's listened to the podcast, no matter how you get the show, knows I am not high on the Eagles. I think the Bengals continue to show week after week a lot of fight still left in this team. Give me the Bengals minus 2.5 at home. I think they win by at least a field goal. My other game is, let's see here. I want to make sure I got the right one. You got Saints Chargers. I got Panthers Broncos. Oh, here it is. Colts Texans under 45.5. That's the other total. I went two spreads, 2 totals. 45.5 under in that Colts-Texans game. I don't think, and again, if you believe as I do that this is the week, it sort of caves in on Anthony Richardson for this season, and the Colts make a determination to go back to Joe Flacco as their starting quarterback for the duration of this year, with the idea of being in a win-now mode. I think this is the week that solidifies that. I don't think the Colts score a lot of points on the road in Houston. I like Houston in this game, as a matter of fact. give me under 45.5 in Colts-Texans. So my 4 picks: Bengals -2.5 at home against the Eagles, Packers -3.5 in Jacksonville, under 45.5 in Colts-Texans, under 41.5 in Panthers-Broncos. My 4 picks for Week 8 in the NFL. I always like it when you and I agree on a game or two. Even though I know it doesn't make for great television and all of that stuff, I like it when we agree because it means that we're on to something, that we're going to be all right. That's kind of my feeling on this stuff. So,
or it means the exact opposite, and both of us read the game completely wrong, and you should go the opposite way and just run as far as you can from our picks. One of the two.
It's going to wrap it up for us today. Thank you to Tino Pattigno. Thanks, Robert Littal. Thanks to you, Sam Yarnell. We will be back with you on Monday, unless you're watching SportsWrap weekends, which I hope you do. I'm Jason Page. Thanks for watching SportsWrap all week. We'll see you back here on Monday.